Feathers and fur. Can today's AI video models create hyper-realistic textures with more complicated and dynamic materials like feathers, fur, hair? I don't know, this is the question I wanted to answer. So I put together this little experiment to see if I could get hyper-realistic feathers and fur. Come with me and I'll show you exactly how I did it. This all started when I had this idea to test more complicated and dynamic materials such as feathers, felt, fur, hair, that kind of thing. And so I thought Muppets. Muppets are like, you know, they're very dynamic, they're interesting, they have a ton of different textures, and I thought it'd be kind of a cool challenge to get a Muppet to look real in this video. So let me really quickly share with you what I did, and then we'll talk about how I did it. So here's the video, it's about 30 seconds long. Take a look.
Time to meet your maker, Mr. Snuffy.
How to get to Sesame Street.
Okay, so this started with, similar to my other videos, I start with finding character images of the characters and subjects that I'm trying to create. So I went out and I found some images of Big Bird, and you know, I got a full body shot and I got a close-up of his head, you know, and I wanted to make sure that when getting these images had the details that I was trying to emulate through the AI. So like, you know, they had to have little pieces of felt and fabric and fur dynamics in the image. And so I got a few of those, and then I did a similar thing for Snuffy. I got some pictures of Snuffy, I got high-res images of him so you could see his fur. I took them over to a new platform that I've been experimenting with called Imagine.art. This is a marketplace with a bunch of different models and AI tools for you to test out. Much like other platforms you may have played with, this one has like a collection of everything off the shelf, and so I wanted to test out different video models and test out different image models, and so I came here to kick things off. And where I started was with these images. So the first thing I did is I loaded up Nano Banana and I threw my Big Bird references in there, and I gave it some prompts about the clothes I wanted him to wear. I was kind of thinking Mad Max, sort of apocalyptic desert attire. So my prompt for that was wearing rugged fabrics like cotton muslin, waffle knit thermals, heavily distressed leather, etc. And that's how I got this image, which is kind of the basis of where I started. Once I had this, I was like, that's Big Bird. These other ones had weird sort of anomalies like a human hand or like yellow hands in the shape of humans. But this one kind of kept the Muppet vibe. So then I took that and expanded upon it. I also tested, I think this is Grok. No, this is Seedream 4.5. So I tested a few different image models, but I think I also tested Grok. But Nano Banana Pro so far is the champ in everything I've ever done with this kind of stuff. If you have a model that is awesome, please let me know, because I want to find another one. That I'm trying to find the strengths and weaknesses of these things, so if you have some examples, please share them. So anyway, I took this, I upscaled it, I got some more angles, and eventually I came to this wide shot, which would be the start of the video. So I got a few examples of that. This is all 4K Nano Banana Pro. And, you know, I think you can, it's much like a lot of the platforms where you get to upload the influence images, you get to dial it in. Do you want it to be a 4K image? Do you want it to be a 2K image? Do you want it to have a different aspect ratio? All of those tools are in here. So I got, you know, I'm doing 16:9 aspect ratio, 4K images. You can see here, this is like another video or another image model here. Seedream kind of shrunk his snout or his beak and made him look like a different character. Very cool, but not what I was going for. I wanted this sort of like hyper realism, and this is what I get out of Nano Banana. Look at the felt details on the eyes and on the beak. This to me feels like a Jim Henson Muppet, and that's what I was so excited by this. This is like exactly what I wanted. So I just went down the rabbit hole of creating more Nano Banana images. And then eventually started prompting Snuffy, same sort of experiment in getting him to look the way I wanted him to look. So yeah, so it's like Snuffy. And once I get these images, these become the start frames or the end frames of the video that I'm trying to generate. And so that's what I was doing here, was just getting my assets together based on all the shots I had sort of plotted out. And I plotted out most of it pretty early on. He's gonna walk up on a ridge, he's gonna see Snuffy below, he's gonna zoom in on a hyper close-up, shoot Snuffy, end title screen, walks off in the distance. Very simple video, just to test if I could get fur and feathers to look real. So then I started running it through the video models, and I was experimenting with some different models. Hailuo 2 Pro. Look, I actually want to talk about Hailuo 2 Pro, because this to me looks really janky, and it looks not good at all. But Hailuo 2 Pro did this other shot way better than any of the other models. And so the reason why this gag of Big Bird rotating around the Rotisserie Big Bird, the reason why this works is because Hailuo 2 Pro did that one way better than any other video model. So the point is, video models have strengths and weaknesses. I'm a huge fan of Seedance 1.5 Pro, and I've been using it a bunch, but Seedance 1.5 Pro could not do this shot. Like, no matter what. I spent a lot of credits trying to get this shot. It took Hailuo to get this to work. So the word of advice here is use different models, test different things. They have strengths and weaknesses. And granted, this is a very difficult shot. And you can see the AI is having some, like the one I used here has a bunch of hallucinations in it, like the wood goes through the wood here, and like there's some weird sort of like, some weird stuff is happening with the stretching of the wood on the handle. But for a quick gag, it worked. On this point, I do want to talk about hallucinations. And you, like, if you're making an AI video, you have to scrutinize every single frame, because it looks real at a glance, but if you really look at it and you're like, looking at every angle and every little piece of it, you're gonna find things that are just weird. And so when I was making this one, I had this one shot here where he fires the gun. Originally, so this is the shot that ends up in the video. Quick shot, it's like 10 frames or, not even a second. But the base footage that I got had this weird sort of hallucination. So if you look at the bolt, the bolt here on the rifle. When he fires, it shoots up, and the bolt shouldn't be moving when you fire a rifle. It should just stay there, right? So what I did here is, because I liked everything else about this, my brother helped me with some After Effects where we just took a piece of felt here, we moved that over this and rotoed over it so that we could paint out this hallucination. And then we took a frame here earlier where the bolt was clearly in frame, right there. We took that frame and we took this piece, painted that out, or we held on that frame and then tracked that over the footage. So now when you see what happens here in the final, that hallucination is gone. And so there you have it. So this is an example of traditional animation and VFX tools being used in conjunction and partnership with AI footage. I think it's a must. We're not at the point where everything is flawless. So when you make these videos, make sure if you're trying to make it look real and convincing, or if you're doing something professional, make sure you take a fine-tooth comb and look through your footage. And then if you find these little inconsistencies, just know that you can rely on a VFX artist to go in and clean things up.
We ain't found shit.
The thing I want to talk about is the audio. So I did have a line of dialogue. I feel like dialogue makes things better, especially if you can get it to sound like the character. You can really sell the character. In my last Waldo video, I did a bunch of voice models in 11 Labs. So I did the same thing with Big Bird, where I found this interview from the Weekend Update, and I just cut up Big Bird's voice. This is a clean recording of Big Bird's voice. So I clipped it up, got about, I don't know, maybe a minute of him talking.
I should have thought of that. So Big Bird, so how did you find out that your name had been mentioned in the debate?
Oh, I got a million tweets.
right? So I got those little voice clips, put them all together, and then I went over to 11 Labs again, and I made a instant clone right here. I just uploaded the audio, and that allowed me to perform whatever I wanted him to say. I could just record it and say, "Hi, I'm Big Bird, and I hate the Snuffleupagus." And then I could generate that.
Hi, I'm Big Bird, and I hate the Snuffleupagus.
Whatever, right? So obviously you need to refine that and dial it in. It doesn't work every single time, but that's how I got Big Bird's performance.
Time to meet your maker, Mr. Snuffy.
You know, I also went over to Suno and I took the last line of the Sesame Street theme song and just prompted this eerie, sort of apocalyptic sounding. I was kind of, we were thinking, what is it? Freddy Krueger, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. But with like a Sesame Street lyric. And so I put that in Suno and got this sort of like eerie outro.
Get to Sesame Street.
So right here, we're looking at a handful of different AI tools, a bunch of different AI models. Another thing that I did in this to sort of sell it is I wanted to distort and degrade the footage a little bit. And so the footage you get out of these AI models are crisp and clean, and sometimes that works for your aesthetic, but I want it to feel cinematic and like it was shot on film or it was done with a camera. And so for each one of these shots, I did a few little effects here in Premiere. So if you look at one of these, let me go over here to my effects controls. You can see I added a noise element and I added the VR sharpen. So I really wanted to bring out this sort of like ISO quality or this camera quality. So if you zoom in, you're getting all of these little teeny like noise things, you know? And without that, it feels very clean. So I'll zoom out so you can see it without it. Because that's what the AI is doing, is it's making a clean image. So I kind of dirtied these up a bit to get it that more like gruffy, sort of out in the desert cinematic look. So again, this is another way of like expanding beyond just the AI model and bringing it into some editing software and putting some creative polish on your footage. Definitely do that. It makes it feel more like art too. I mean, you're kind of like building an aesthetic and getting, you know, so like color correcting these things. Like each one of these has a adjustment layer on it. So you can see I kind of like got it more of this, I don't know, dulled LUT, but with lots of like vibrant colors in it to get it more apocalyptic. I don't know, I was thinking like Mad Max-ish, but I mean, I know it's not, but like definitely playing with it. You know, playing with creative tools makes these things more of your own, and that's a lot of fun, at least for me. So I hope these tips and tricks help you out in your endeavors, and if you're making cool stuff, share them with me. If you're seeing something I'm doing that's kind of wonky, let me know, drop me a comment, let me know if there's other approaches or ways to do stuff. And I have more videos like this coming up, so if you're into this stuff, please subscribe, stick around. I hope to see you on other videos, and thank you for watching.